All too often, we are stuffing the heads of the young with the products of earlier innovations rather than teaching them to be innovative. We treat their minds as storehouses to be filled rather than as instruments to be used.
The school system in Iceland is meant for the average student that has to put in a lot of work to learn anything. It's meant for you to take everything slowly and learn on a steep curve slowly. It's not really doing anything for people that are above average.
That's exactly what intelligent people dislike, that, it's not the system that rewards them, and there should be a system that rewards them because they are intelligent, and in the institution that is supposed to reward intelligence, it doesn't reward them at all.
I always, found mainly what they taught in school to be uninteresting and just rather unnecessary in a way. I don't like the way that, the public academic system is structured. I think it actually hurts students rather than helping them, especially kids that don't fit well into normal social settings, and just, standard, basically being standardized.
What causes a young person who is considered intelligent by everyone around him to fail classes or drop out of secondary school? This documentary presents a phenomenological study of 5 such individuals and shows commonalities in their experiences and attitudes towards school and learning. As a researcher who identified with many of the attitudes and struggles of the participants, I also conducted an autoethnographic study to see if actively focusing on my approach to learning could improve my attitude and make me a more efficient learner. Why do some secondary students, who are called intelligent by parents and teachers, do poorly in school or drop out of school altogether?
Who has called me intelligent? Well, a lot of people, to be honest. I've been being called intelligent since early grade school here. I didn't do any of the work that I was supposed to do, but I always got the tests with over 70%. So my teachers always thought I was either cheating or was really quite intelligent, because I never had to do the homework, I never did the work, but I always knew the material just by listening in to the teachers while they were talking in class.
My parents, teachers, friends, almost everyone.
Some of my teachers during, what do you call it, secondary school here or whatever, they called me quite intelligent because, my mathematics teacher, he let me slide on showing up. He let it slide because he knew that I got the material from the first time we went over it. So it was completely pointless for me to be there 3 hours a week, while I could be there 1 hour a week and learn just as much.
Yeah, it was probably from when I was a kid, and I was always called intelligent by my parents.
My electric theory teacher called me quite intelligent. He actually thought I was cheating at first, but then he actually sat over me for 3 tests because he actually thought I was cheating. I found that quite funny.
When I started mental school, it was more about you're intelligent, you should be getting higher grades. But when I was young, it was you get so high grades, you're intelligent.
Just that I was smart, that I could do anything I wanted.
In order to get a clear picture of why this occurred in these individuals, I conducted 45-minute interviews with each person and asked 2 main questions. The first question was, what have you experienced in terms of difficulties with academic achievement in secondary school despite being called intelligent?
After I've been called intelligent, I didn't do anything anymore for school. Because, I thought I knew everything. That slowly but surely turned differently.
Very, very bad at studying, and I haven't done my homework since I was in 9th grade, I think, when I was 14. And when the only homework I do is the homework I really, really, really have to do, and not even always that. I have failed a few classes just because I thought at the end of the semester, fuck it, I just don't want to, do it.
Turned a little bit sour for me after I got that attitude.
A general hate for the school system, which just grew and grew. And a growing depression from having to go to school every day, always. And yeah, when there was a lot of small things. Hating specific classes, disliking teachers, always being tired, waking up at 8 o'clock or before that is not something that I can do.
My main difficulty is having the interest in showing up to class. Because I can't seem to be bothered to show up.
I started out, ahead of most people in my grade. And I hit a point where after, I had moved for, the 7th or 8th time to a new place, starting a new school, that I just didn't find the schoolwork to be important anymore.
The hardest for me was math, to achieve anything in math. But all the other subjects like English or German or French, even art, that was sort of very easy for me. And so I was always interested in languages. But math, I could just not wrap my head around it. Because around the time when I graduated primary school, math was very, very easy. It's like basic. But as soon as I hit 7th grade in Luxembourg, it's like the first year of secondary school, the teacher just came in, wrote something on the blackboard and then left it all for us to solve by ourselves. So no explanations, no nothing. And the first time I saw this, my mind was blank.
Being forced to learn things that I have absolutely no interest in. That's I think where the hate comes from, really. Just that. Things like Icelandic classes that I didn't. Homework. God, I hate homework. Can't do that.
I somehow seem to be able to get myself through all of that through using charisma and my intelligence.
And I had a few teachers that, thought that if they put me in advanced classes that I would become more motivated and that I would do better because I'd be more interested. But it didn't have that effect. And in fact, when it got too difficult in those classes, instead of trying to learn or improve in those situations, I just shut down and, would not go to school, or I'd rather go out, drinking and this and that. Because no one ever showed me how important it was. I was only told that if you don't do these things, you're punished and you'll never do anything with your life and you're stupid.
In light of being expected to achieve academically because of your perceived intelligence, how did it feel to fail?
Heartbreaking, actually. It's like I wanted to pass, but it hurt. Not going to the same class as your friends are going, to be stuck behind a year. It hurts a lot. But mostly hurts my ego, and ever since then it just couldn't care less anymore for school or anything.
Failed that last test, really, I think, because of hopelessness. So I've been called smart, but I wasn't doing my homework, I didn't do anything. And in the exams, final exams, I didn't study for any of the tests until the very last one. Because at that last test I had been called by the principal. He told me that I had to get a 5.5 or something on my 2 Icelandic tests, and I think I got a 5. But I studied for that test because I had hope. I had a benchmark which I had to get. Sadly failed, but I was really just hopeless before that because everyone had been telling me the entire year that I was gonna fail. All the teachers, my parents, everyone.
After I realized that it may not be tied together, being intelligent and having good grades, I just slowly built an immune system to, failing, because the classes I failed after that were classes I didn't care about, and if I didn't care about them, there was no reason to feel sad about, actually failing them. So failing them was just something that happened, and sure, it was my fault, but that's just the way I wanted, I guess.
What situations have typically influenced or affected your ability to achieve academically in secondary school?
I always do everything except homework. Like, me and my best friend often talk about how if we have nothing to do, like absolutely nothing, we would rather sit and stare at our computer monitors blank than actually start studying, because it's not like, we hate it especially. It's just that it's the last thing I would possibly want to do for some reason. Like, it's not like going to the gym or doing piano scales where, it's boring. There is a point to it, but it's like, those things, I can get myself to do those things because I know that I want to achieve what they have to offer.
Well, I sort of don't want to really talk about it, but it had something to do with illegal plants.
I mean, you don't have to talk about anything you don't want to.
No, it's okay. But it's sort of also the blame, doing smoking weed. I thought it would have get better, but it didn't. At first, maybe, but after a couple of months of smoking weed, it got worse, actually. Way worse than it would have been. Oh, my mom's not gonna watch this. Started in that year when I failed. So after that, it just kept on doing it. Showed up stoned, and during lunchtime I would go out and smoke some. So it got worse the second year. I did the same year. That second one it got worse.
If I have hope, if I know exactly what I need to do, then that helps a lot. That motivates me a lot. When I have the idea of that I'm going to fail, which was sort of implanted in me, then I'll just do nothing. Just fail.
But I had a lot of teachers that also really disliked me and tried to get me in trouble, even though if I wasn't, they tried to lower my grades, they tried to fail me. Like, maybe that's all in my mind, but I felt like they just really disliked me because I wasn't an easy student to deal with. If they said something I didn't agree with, try to make me do something I actually, legally didn't have to do or something like that, I wouldn't, or standing up for the Pledge of Allegiance. I got in a very long argument with a teacher who said, I must stand up, I must, or I will get detention, I will, I'm like, I don't have to. And it was stuff like that where I would just protest in that way, and I knew that I just didn't have to do something, I just wouldn't do it.
I was learning electrics theory and stuff like that. And there was an AM receiver in the room, and I was like, if I build one of those, will I get an automatic pass on your class? And the teacher actually said yes. So I stopped showing up for classes. I spent about 3 hours a week for a month building an AM receiver out of parts and schematics that I found online. And I built an AM receiver in school, in my free time there, and I showed that to the teacher, and he actually gave me a pass in the class, and I was really quite happy that I could do what in 12 hours, what was supposed to take me a semester's worth of academic achievement.
The subject I wasn't good at, I just kicked it aside and didn't do it, because it was easier for me to do the subject that I was good at, and it was fun to do it. And that I did with pleasure. I even finished the entire book before it was due. That's how good I was in that subject. But in the other subject, no, I didn't touch it, didn't do anything in it, didn't study it, nothing. I was actually a little bit afraid to go to that class because I just wasn't good at it, and I just did not want to have anything to do with it. Just leave me alone.
I had two sides to me, I guess. I had my side where my friends that I met, when I was younger in my advanced nerdy classes, the fun nerdy kids, ran cross country and that were just dorks, I loved them. And then I had the group of friends where I'd go out drinking and partying with that didn't care, it's just whatever they needed to do to get by and, just had fun really.
Me being intelligent and that subject not being my strong suit, I just kicked it out of my area of expertise. It didn't belong onto my radar. It was not part of me. It was banished.
As soon as I was able to drive, or my friends were able to drive, we just drive around town, and then we go, either we just drive around town and go just do stuff we weren't supposed to do during the day. And then it turned into drinking and smoking pot and driving around and doing that and, staying up, and it just continued in that direction. So I just wanted to have fun and forget about what was really bothering me, which the school, not doing well at school did really bother me. So I didn't want to think about that. And it's one of those things, the less I think about it, the less it's actually there. I can distort my own reality in such a way.
Academically, in mental school, it's really quite boring to have to show up everywhere. I mean, I could take the finals this semester. I completely failed this semester because I just stopped showing up halfway through. If I could take the finals from school, I would probably pass them, to be honest. I mean, I don't know 100% of the material for classes that I was taking for the first time, but I could still probably bullshit my way through it.
School is, secondary school at least, is made for the average person to do the things they need to learn the necessary life skills they need to succeed as a normal human being in society and be accepted.
Intelligent people find ways to not only work through the system, but work around the system and work with the system, work every way possible to get their needs. Whilst hardworking people are people who just do what they're told and, what they're supposed to do. And they get rewarded for it. And intelligent people, I think, have a certain dislike and jealousy of that because they know they're better, because they are intelligent, and they feel they don't get what they deserve.
The majority of people that I know here that are above average intelligence, they kind of fail school. I mean, the school system here is not meant for people that can learn, and I have quite a few friends that have dropped out of school because it's not interesting enough.
The not so intelligent people have to work hard because it's hard for them.
Mm-hmm.
So they might possibly just work hard because it's hard. Then it just keeps getting harder and harder, and they work harder and harder. But intelligent people, they don't work hard. So and then they keep not working hard. And when they have to start working hard, they can't, because they never actually learned to.
While working on this documentary over the course of several months, I can enthusiastically report that I was able to develop a more efficient approach towards school and learning new things. I studied how the brain works, and I looked at different strategies to improve learning and comprehension. This took hundreds of hours of concerted effort in order to change my old habits, but I did it. Having witnessed firsthand how difficult it can be to let go of overconfidence toward learning, it made me wonder, are the parents and teachers of some students ill-preparing them for the challenges of secondary school by boosting their confidence as youngsters and focusing on how intelligent they are rather than teaching them how to approach difficult or mandatory subjects? In closing, I asked the participants to give some recommendations to young people who were called intelligent but were struggling academically in secondary school. This is what they recommended.
If you think you're failing, then put your ego aside and ask for someone to help you, or just ask for help. Don't be a douchebag. Don't think that you're just because somebody told you you're intelligent, don't think that you're better than anyone. Just get over yourself and ask for some help, because that will help.
I would say to not hurt yourself by basically protesting to the things that you are supposed to do, or the things that your parents think that you should do, or the things that your family does to get in the way emotionally. I would have told myself that I'm far more mature than my parents and I don't need to bother with what my parents are saying. I could just ignore their opinion. Those teachers that, treated me that way, and the other students, some of them did as well, I would just ignore that. That didn't matter. That was unimportant. That did not affect me. I shouldn't do the opposite of what people want me to do. I should just do the things that I want to do for specific reasons. Complete that schoolwork, not because I was told to, but because then I could have had more opportunities after secondary school, just for that reason. And to, help organize my future, because I feel like something that's it really, really hurts me and gets in the way of my everyday life is not having the ability to structure myself and give myself things to do and complete them. And I understand why I need to do them, but I don't have that drive to do it. And also to, instead of just shutting down when, I didn't want to achieve academically, possibly have found a way to do something else, as opposed to just ignoring it and waiting for the consequences to happen and then having to restructure things. I could have just, gone into a situation saying, I can't do it this way. Can I please do it that way? And showed some initiative to improve things.
Ask for help. That's what I should have done. But I didn't. No. And now I regret it.